Hello, my stars. My name is Zoe, also known as Lavender Luna. If you are already a part of this galaxy I have here on YouTube, welcome back. And if you're not, that means you don't know me, which means you're not subscribed. That's fine. You're not in trouble because we have all the time in the world to get to know each other, baby. So relax and subscribe. But hey guys, if you read the title, then you probably already know what I'm talking about. So, men's fashion, specifically men's fashion in 2026, specifically bedazzled men's fashion, or the Cinderella fellas. As I've been seeing trending on TikTok, I've been seeing a lot of discussion about the recent trend of bedazzled clothing, more specifically related to men or masculine presenting people. I'm pretty sure, like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what I'm talking about already. And but if you don't, I mean, this was more, I feel like, more on in the black community, on the black side of TikTok, where I've seen most of the complaints when it comes to bedazzled men's fashion. But it was viral enough, so I think everyone really knows about it, and I'm gonna get into that part about specifically why it's popping up in more black spaces. But I'm talking bedazzled belts, bedazzled shirts, bedazzled shoes, bedazzled pants, and hell, bedazzled do-rags, which I actually think are really cool. I actually really like the bedazzled do-rags because I'm a big fan of when we take things that I kind of consider low class. But no, I like, because people often demonize black women or black men for wearing do-rags out in public or bonnets. It's not, it's somehow ghetto. But I like when people incorporate those things and make it luxury. So that's why I really love those bedazzled, not bedazzled, but that diamond do-rag that Rihanna wore that one year at that one event. I don't know anything about celebrity. I just think it's really pretty. I actually really do like that part. But anyways, men dressed in garbs embroidered with their finest jewels have been recently trending. And I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off. I actually really like this trend. Hey. I will explain. And honestly, a lot of this video is going to be kind of a defense of said fashion, as well as talking about specifically the homophobic and misogynistic rhetoric that I've been seeing surrounding this issue. Hey, editing Zoe here. So in this video, I tend to switch between misogyny or misogynistic and toxic masculinity when it comes to describing the behavior that I'm critiquing in the video. But I use them interchangeably, not because I believe they're exactly the same thing. I know they're different things, but I believe they are very deeply connected with each other. Kind of really can't exist without each other. And that even if it is a false positive, like describing someone as tough, or men are tough and strong and all these things, when you fuel the delusion of dominance that comes with toxic masculinity, that also reinforces a lot of the ideals with misogyny, that there is a sort of superiority with these traits, and that these traits are very what is required for you to be a man, quote unquote. But often when you put men on pedestals, they neglect or lack the very skills or range of emotions that are required for humans to function. And it leads to a vicious cycle of suppression of one's humanity when it comes to, again, feeling things like emotions or suppressing their experiences, putting them in a box where they think their lack of emotional maturity and emotional literacy gives them an excuse to treat everyone around them like collateral damage. So just to end it, I just feel like they're not mutually exclusive. So that's why I'm tackling this video. So you can put your binoculars down for your bird watching, because you ain't finna find no birds here. I am a lesbian. So I wouldn't be the last person to defend a man on a daily, in any situation. That's why I hate y'all for making me do that, putting me in this position. But one of my favorite things about fashion when it comes to styling specifically is when people add texture. Whether it's texture in the more visual sense, like it's like a pattern that breaks up the visual design of the piece. Like, for example, if you have one color and you just have a pop of plaid or something like that, or polka dots. I think that's interesting. Or whether it's texture in the more physical sense where it breaks away from the vase, actually creating not only a visual but a physical texture that you can feel, and it pops out more, basically. I find those two aspects of fashion to be some of my favorite things. A lot of my outfits that I personally have include a lot of texture, because I think it elevates a piece, in my opinion. I'm a maximalist. I love maximalist style. I love maximalist like furniture, everything. I really love maximalist. I collect jewelry, and I'm not wearing a lot of it because I don't feel like the look warrants it, but I do collect a lot of jewelry. I do love maximalism, so that's where I lean more towards when it comes to fashion. But I personally think that bedazzling and embroidery particularly is some of my favorite versions of texture breakup that I do see in fashion. For example, you've probably seen this as well. I've seen a lot of red beaded embroidery pieces, a lot popping up on Pinterest recently. Like, for example, these beaded ants that I've seen, like you see those on plain white button-up shirts, but I like the way these ants are like kind of crawling away, or like just like it's interesting to me. I think it looks really, really pretty. I think it breaks up the design in such a beautiful way. It's kind of unsettling, but in like an interesting, I don't know, I really like it. Or like you've probably also seen those bleeding heart shirts that I've seen everywhere on Pinterest. Another example of this, I want to bring up this set made by a celebrity stylist named Devon Milan. I just think that's like Devon Milan. I think that's such a cute celebrity designer. Also, she's black, which is really cool for me. But she made this streetwear design. If, for example, I'm gonna pop it up here, but I personally love the way she increases the size as well as the amount of gems that are at the bottom, because to me it looks like water. I'm bringing her up specifically because I do think this is beautiful, but I think this is a good representation of the type of styling or the type of clothes that we are talking about in this situation, because most of the clothing that I've seen people complain about on my For You page look similar or emulate the same style that she emulates in this piece. And also I don't want to hear nobody being like, no, the beaded stuff is not the type of things we're talking about. This is the type of stuff we're talking about. But it can be done well and it looks really good. But the girlies, actually everybody mad. Whole house is mad. On my For You page, like every time I scroll, people are mad about these outfits. The girlies are not fucking with it at all. And of course now, like again, because I am a bit late to making this video, but of course now, like I've seen a lot more defense videos of this subject, because I'm going to bring this up, I'm going to talk more in depth about this later, but again, the whole issue with the rhetoric when it comes to talking about this situation or talking about these clothing. But that I just wanted to say, this is what I'm talking about most specifically, and I'm going to put a bunch of other examples right here. So just, yeah, those are what I'm talking about when it comes to bedazzled clothing. So now I wanted to get into some of the videos that I saw specifically when it comes to the situation that kind of really set alarm bells to me. I want you to notice something. Like, I'm going to play a couple, like just a little bit of a couple, but I want you to point out what you hear a lot of when I'm talking. Like, what you're going to hear a lot of the same thing, but I'm going to point it out real quick.
Okay, so I'm in Burlington's, and this is the men's section. Keep in mind, it's bedazzled, booty shaking, booty popping jeans in the men's section. Damn, I can't tell who the bad bitches anymore. Who is the bad bitches? Come on now. It comes to a point. And they got the rhinestones. Like, come on now. Thigh sticking in the motherfucker, thigh sticking heavy. Ready. Look at this. Booty popping. This is the men's section. This is crazy.
And the straight boys sitting over here trying to figure out why they always getting them confused with the DL boys or the GAY boys. That's because they done bedazzled all y'all clothes. Y'all come out looking like y'all finna do a drag performance. What's going on? What happened to Dope Boy Fresh? Girl, what?
I need to enjoy your cocktails. Heavy on the cock.
What the fuck world are we living in, ladies? I hate to break it to you, but everybody's gay. You know, they said in the end times that there'd be no more straight men. I think the end times are near. What the fuck is this?
But like, you're gonna know, do you notice there's a trend of women, just like of people, most specifically women, the majority being women, saying a lot of things like who the Cinderella fellas, which is kind of funny, who gonna be the real man, they want to be us so bad, you trying to be bad bitches, like all da. And it's like, y'all fruity, y'all got some sugar in they tank. Like, I keep seeing like a lot of really misogynistic or toxic, like a lot of toxic rhetoric, especially specifically towards the men doing this. I also see like a lot of like homophobic things being said. For again, like the sugar in the tank comment, or just a lot of questioning people's masculinity, when it comes to these fashions. And I've seen a lot of people going into stores. For example, one of the videos that I saw was a woman in a store that was like, I don't know, probably Forever 21 or something, just one fast fashion store, where she filmed and like she was like, this is a men's store, by the way. No, it's just pink and sparkly clothes, you know, because men can't wear pink because it's a feminine color. It's just a fucking color. But it's just, there's just what you would perceive as mostly feminine things like sparkle and pink are in that store. And also a lot of women are going around just recording random people on the street, or men on the street, in these outfits and posting them without their consent or permission, which I think is entirely too weird. But yeah, like the niggas are not safe. Like, it is not a safe space. Like, they are getting canceled. Dates are getting canceled. People are saying things to them in the street. And again, people are being recorded, which is in no situation a good thing to do. I feel like that's gross. And even if you're a man or woman, do not record people in public. Hi, Editing Zoe here. I noticed in this video that I am often a lot harder on critiquing black women as opposed to black men in this situation, when they are just as equally, if not more, guilty for the standards that we put on our young black boys and our families. What I'm talking about is just what I've seen pertaining to this trend, and who has been more vocal when it comes to opposing this trend, and who has been the most vocal when it comes to the homophobic and misogynistic rhetoric that is coming from this trend, and that happened to be black women. And so that's why I seem like I'm a lot harsher on them, when again, I feel like we are all the time, we are the victim of these violence or toxic masculinity in the most part. But I don't feel like I talk enough about how much responsibility toxic masculinity as well as misogyny is the responsibility of the men that deal out this damage, as opposed to the women who have to survive this world navigating said damage. Right now, there's a whole epidemic of men with meta glasses going around harassing women, which I do want to talk about in a different video. But I just think we need to stop being so comfortable recording random people. Y'all don't know these people. I don't care if you don't like how they dress. Leave them alone. Yeah, it's like the girlies are upset. And it's not just a preference issue, but I really do want you guys to pay attention to specifically the rhetoric coming from black women majority of the time, or at least from what I've seen. And the reason why this sticks out to me is because there's already a very huge issue of toxic masculinity, especially in the black community. And a lot of the time, that toxic masculinity is something that is often taken out on and targeted towards black women, whether it is violence against black women, DV, SA, colorism, stalking, harassment. Toxic masculinity and masculinity in general like has been connected to a lot of violence that we have experienced as black women. And so that's why I find it a little bit shocking that a lot of the black women are reinforcing these gender norms, like they're reinforcing these thought process or the toxic masculinity, because you would think that as people who are the biggest victims of these situations, we would try to have an era of reform or an era of welcoming to things like the switch, like a change in gender norms. This kind of segues into another point I want to bring up. I'm not saying this because to say that we as women have to coddle men in order for them to change and be better people. I'm not saying that at all. In the black community, there is a very huge issue, especially because black community, especially in the US, is a very deeply religious community, which is something that is not very often talked about, or talked about but not enough, especially towards the mindset that we are often raised in, because it is very real in the black community. A lot of people believe that women are subservient, that men are allowed to act out, be bad, be mean, they're terrible, deplorable human beings, because it's the woman's job to come into their life and lock them down. That's a legit religious practice that a lot of women are taught in the black community, and I don't want to reinforce that in any circumstance. My issue is with this rhetoric. These are the people that are raising our sons. I am a big believer that if you're an adult, you are responsible for your emotions. You're responsible for how you deal with them. You're responsible for how you live your life and how life affects you and how you're going to take it. You're responsible for building yourself up as the person you want to be, and it is nobody else's responsibility to carry the weight or be the collateral damage to your development as a human being. I feel like that idea of that people have to build you up, that you have to invite other people into your life to be your anchor is ridiculous, because relationship is a mutual exchange. You guys have to be as evenly a part of their relationship as possible. There's no excuse to your bad behavior, because again, your partner is not collateral damage to your self-discovery or your journey, except when it comes to your parents. That is something very important, because these are the people, like I said earlier, these are the people, specifically the women and the men, that are raising our children. The Rethinking people are seeing are the same stereotypes and the same rhetoric that are constantly beat into our young boys and men growing up, which reinforces these toxic and abusive ideals. I feel like, again, it's not othering the responsibility one has within yourself to manage your own life. But we have to acknowledge that the way we raise our children does play a part into their belief systems when they grow up. So when you're going around and posting on TikTok about how things like color and bedazzling things is just not what men do, it's weird to me. I've seen a lot of young boys get excluded from activities where they want to just participate in things that will help them with life skills that are being excluded because that's a feminine thing to do. For example, playing, they don't get kitchen sets. A lot of little boys don't get things like baby dolls, which teaches essential things like boundaries, respect, autonomy. A lot of boys are not growing up knowing how to cook, take care of themselves, clean babies, take care of babies, or not even taking care of babies, just like taking care of something so they know how to take care of themselves. A lot of men are growing up reaping what their parents sow. It's just a tapestry and a continuation of a lack of the ability to function. And a lot of people are using femininity and masculinity as an excuse. The reason I'm bringing this up is because what stands out to me about the rhetoric that they feel like a lot of people are not seeing, that it's all intentional. The attacks on masculinity is all intentional, because whenever anybody, specifically black men, because we're talking about the black community, step out their comfort zone or step out of what gender norm, it's uncomfortable, and people use that uncomfortability as an excuse to attack, because when people are uncomfortable, they act out. And instead of just being like, oh, that's not what I'm into, I'm not attracted to that, fine. No, a lot of people act out on that, and it's honestly very, very weird. And again, I'm not saying there's no reason to attack fragile masculinity. I feel like fragile masculinity needs something that needs to be shamed. But what I don't like is weaponizing that fragility to get what you want because you're not attracted to the way somebody or a fashion trend. I feel like weaponizing that fragility is reinforcing these stereotypes. When we are demonizing these things that are seen too feminine or too gay or too queer, when you actively know that is a sore spot, then you are a part of that problem. You cannot play ignorant to that, because just because you're a woman doesn't mean you can't be misogynistic. That's not mutually exclusive. It's very hypocritical to me to see black women who are, again, the main victims of toxic masculinity, complain about said masculinity, but the moment that they see men or step out of gender roles or step out of these patterns, you condemn them and weaponize said toxic masculinity against them. It's hypocritical, and it's doing, again, the same damage. And I understand that embracing a new style of clothing or dressing a little more feminine is not a tell-all, or not even a really great sign for whether or not a man treats a woman right, or someone who is not misogynistic. And it doesn't scale misogyny. It doesn't prove or disprove that you treat women right. That's not what I'm saying. Because again, a lot of gay men who dress feminine, who are considered more feminine, are very, very misogynistic themselves, using their sexuality to hate on women. And also, but at the same time, using a lot of black women mannerisms or AAVE, or in talking like us, acting like us, but at the same time turning around and continuing to be racist or continue to be misogynistic. It's a problem in all those avenues. Again, none of these problems are mutually exclusive at all. Nothing is going to change if you continue to feed these ideals your damn selves. And we're not seeing that. Again, I'm not saying that you have to coddle men. Fuck men! I know from outside looking in as a lesbian, fuck niggas. I don't care. But I'm saying is, we can't say fuck niggas and then teaching y'all little men to do nigga shit. To act like niggas. I don't get it. But a man dressing in the style that has some sort of gemstone or some sort of thought in it has zero correlation with his sexuality. For example, A$AP Rocky. But that man be walking around in quilts or skirts, and he also be bedazzled. And that nigga is married to Rihanna. He got kids with Rihanna. Like, that's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. And that man is her man. There's like, that's one of my biggest examples of how that doesn't fucking correlate at all. But my point is, you using the sentiment that the way you dress has correlation to your sexuality promotes a very homophobic way of thinking. Because again, there is a very well documented history of homophobia and violence due to homophobia in the Black community. Just recently, I seen a son get in a physical altercation with his father at a graduation because he was gay and went to his brother's graduation. Like, I'm gonna play the video, but
Mr. McCoy, like, he knew how I was in school. I was not a bad kid in school. Like, I didn't get in a lot of fights like that. I only got into 2 fights in high school. Like, I'm not that type of kid. Like, I was good. I went to college. I did everything I was supposed to do. Only thing that I have did that a lot of Black parents have an issue with is be gay. Literally, that's all I do. My other brothers, on the other hand, they the one that did a lot of shit. They did a lot of other shit. They did a lot of pulling out guns, jumping. They did all that. They do all that hood nigga shit. Me, on the other hand, I don't do that. I stay pretty and I stay gay and I do what the fuck was right in school. If you want respect, you have to earn it. It goes both ways. Welcome to the real world. I don't know what your daddy did to you or what your granny and them did to you, but you're not doing the same thing that your daddy and your granny and your mom did to you. You're not doing that same thing to me. You're not doing that same thing to me anymore. No, you're just not. So if you don't like the fact that I'm gay, if you don't like the fact that I want to play basketball, if you don't like the fact that I want to go out with my life, if you don't like the fact, you see what I'm saying? I'm just saying, if y'all don't like that fact, then just let me go. But don't think you finna just continue to beat me and abuse me and bully me and you supposed to be my mama. A lot of people always say their first bullies was the parents. That's me. I got that story. My first bully was my daddy. That was my first bully. And for that reason, when I see people get bullied, I beat people the fuck up that get bullied. Bitch, I'm gay myself. So why the fuck would I condone that shit?
it's a very sad situation, but it's a really good example of how homophobia does continue to affect the Black community and how these homophobic ideals that we keep reinforcing by the jokes or the things that we say about the way men dress, how these all correlate and how these can continue to be an issue. Men are often raised in a way to value masculinity more than anything else in their life. And a lot of men value it over things like love, understanding, and even self-preservation. Like, it's crazy. Some niggas will literally physically throw you under the bus if it preserves their image of being tough and hard or whatever. And again, that is already actively happening in our community, and we as community know how much questioning that image actually affects the men in our community. So that's why I find it so disheartening that we are weaponizing that fragility, because you know what you're doing when you're saying that. You're using homophobia as a scare tactic because people don't dress in the way you like, or because people don't dress in the way you're attracted to. Because I'm going to say this now, I don't think having preferences when it comes to the way people dress is a bad thing. I think it's something that everyone has. It's an attraction. I've seen people using homophobic rhetoric to scare men into dressing how they believe or don't believe people should dress. And regardless of whether you like it or not, that rhetoric is violence. It also incites violence. People are using rhetoric associated with gay men as an insult. That has often been something I've heard growing up. And it's something I continue to see and hear today. With adult men still using gay, like, words associated with gay people, gay men specifically, what this does is further villainizes gay men in a community that already treats them like a stain on the earth. These are the same people that are raising the younger generation to spew the same hatred that causes superstition, violence, and death across communities altogether. And what I can't understand is, as a group of people who know firsthand about what this type of mentality does to us, how we can spread that same hatred towards another group, especially when it comes to gay men or Black gay women, like anybody a part of the LGBTQ, any queer Black individual. How can we as Black women who understand what this mentality continue to spread hate towards another fucking marginalized group? Like, what are we doing? And all this for what? Because y'all don't like the way these niggas dress? Really, is that really worth it? Like, just throwing away any sort of solidarity that you claim to have just because you're not attracted to a certain type of fashion? Hell, like I said earlier, I don't think preference is a bad thing. Hell, I have a preference. I like women who dress a little more masculine, but I love femininity. I love women. I love everything about women. The way somebody dresses does not correlate to their sexuality at all. And at the end of the day, it's just clothes. It's literally just clothes. For a man to be homosexual, you have to be attracted to men solely. And a lot of people may be saying, like, it's not that deep. Zoe, it's not that deep. who is this actually affecting? But there are a lot of people being affected this day. Black women are being affected by this mentality. Young gay men, like gay men in general, are young boys who aren't even gay, who just want to participate in life and not have these labels placed on them with no pressure. Young girls who have to conform to their own gender norms and have to navigate and survive these things. The gender norms and gender roles and the demonization of stepping out of them affects everybody. Imagine you post these videos online and think you have a closeted child, and now guess what, mom's videos going viral because she hates the way people dress and she thinks, oh my god, the world is running out of real niggas. Like, you are narrowing yourself as a resource of trust. You are no longer a safe space for your child. If they are in any sort of position that is similar to this, you are no longer a safe space, and that is something you have done yourself. And again, I'm going to bring up again that one video that I was talking about earlier of that son who fought his father at a graduation because his homophobic dad didn't want him there because his little brother was graduating and his dad's homophobic, so he was like, if you go there, we're gonna have to fight. And so he went to his brother's graduation. And I know these situations may seem completely unrelated, but this is a direct result of the whole pipeline. This video shows the direct effects that the spread of hatred, continued spread of hatred through generations, through the rhetoric, the things we speak, actually affect our children, people we are supposed to love and protect. This is how it affects us. This is how it affects your friends who are gay, friends who are queer in general. Like, this is how this stuff affects it. Because a lot of people group a whole spectrum of sexualities into one thing, gay. A lot of trans women have been beaten and unalived at a very alarming rate these days. And we are continuing to reinforce these things. Like, again, you have to think. Like, is this really the rhetoric I want to be speaking? Also, I wanted to bring up, like, this whole situation is so incredibly hypocritical to me because around when the situation started getting popular, the Michael Jackson movie came out this year, and it came around the same time everything was popular. And at the same time, people was hating on bedazzled niggas, the Cinderella fellas. There's no Zoe here. I just want to get this out the way. I am not comparing these random ass niggas on the street to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was a fucking phenomenon. There's nothing, no one can ever recreate what Michael Jackson built. The way he affected the world was crazy. I just wanted to specifically note that I'm only talking about clothing wise because often Michael Jackson was hearing a lot of the same rhetoric that we are currently hearing with men who also wear bedazzled things. Like, I just wanted to point that out because this was something he also experienced, and I'm going to have a video right here to kind of talk about that part.
Michael, ladies, man. Oh, are you kidding me? I used to tell people when they used to say things, he's gay or whatever. I say, no, he ain't. Leave your wife or your girl with him for the day and you'll find out.
Oh, wow.
When I bring up people like Michael Jackson and Prince and all that stuff, I'm not saying that any of these dusty ass niggas on the street can ever compare to these two men. I just want us to pay attention to the rhetoric that we're talking about when we're talking about these men. How people like Michael Jackson and Prince experienced the same treatment during their careers. There people were admiring, lifting up people like Prince, especially Michael Jackson. But mind you, these niggas are the kings of the bedazzled niggas. Genuinely give me like 5 outfits of Michael Jackson that ain't got one sparkle on it. Every picture I see of that nigga, he is jeweled the fuck up, and I love it. It looks so good. Like, I some of my favorite outfits from Prince, when he wore that whole beaded top, like pearl top with like nothing underneath, it's just like a beaded pearl top. It's beautiful. I'm hearing, like, I'm looking at these comment sections, y'all man was like, oh my god, I would be his biggest fan. I would be fainting the club. I would be writing on it up, side, left, right, B-A. I would write it in all those directions like a damn cheat code. Like, that's literally how some of y'all girlies be. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't. Because these niggas are bedazzled. Oh, I'm gonna bring this up. Another person that I wanted to talk about was Dennis Rodman, who has one of the most iconic portfolios of somebody who dresses in a more feminine fashion, but it's still a style icon. He has some of the best outfits I've seen. And that nigga married himself. He's cool as fuck. I also want to bring up how counterproductive reacting with so much disdain for the fact that men are exploring more with fashion. And I feel like it's shooting a lot of women in the foot by doing this. There's 2 things. I'm somebody who thinks stepping out of gender roles is a very powerful thing you can do. And I feel like it's a very brave thing you can do. And my thing is like, this just also shows there is a desperate need for a lot of men for self-expression. Again, I like the bedazzled trend when people are styled right, because I can admit it. Some of y'all niggas don't know how to dress. But these are like segues into new styles is what I'm saying. I am somebody who prides myself in my fashion sense. I'm not like, I'm not big or anything, but I did gain at least a little bit of a following on Instagram due to the way I style on myself, and I have a lot of pride in what I wear. I'm somebody who thinks I know a thing or two about these things, but I did not start out like that. I did not just start out dressing like this. I did not just like get off the dome. No, I tried things out. I explored things that fit me, that didn't fit me. I explored the silhouettes. I saw what I liked and didn't like on me. And what I'm saying is that's what exploring is, and exploration is a gateway to new discoveries. Like, did you guys think that niggas like Wisdom or Urban come out the womb like this? Absolutely not. These are men who have the passion for fashion. The passion for fashion. Bats, babies. Oh, I'm fucking stuck. No, fashion is an art form. Just like how people have their own style, art styles, people have their own fashion styles. And artists are not artists like day one. It takes practice, it takes development, it takes trying these things out. It takes growth to get to where they are. That's how people develop things like their own unique art style. That's how people develop their own personal style. Like, you have to be able to explore what you do enjoy and what you don't. But when you shoot somebody down when they're on and up, like, it's not gonna work out. You're never gonna reach these new discoveries. And as somebody who also finds the way somebody dresses, like people who are well dressed, very attractive, I feel like there's also like a very high demand of men who know how to dress, because this generation, the way men dress is it's extremely tragic. Again, like I said, I'm somebody who is very attracted to the way people present themselves, especially like if they have a style. I love people who dress alternatively. I like like gothic fashion. I like dark academic fashion, and I also like grunge and fairycore. I like those in masculine styles. I think those are really, really cool. And I feel like if we are again shooting people while they're on the up, how do you expect anybody to grow and know what does look good if you don't let anybody explore? Because now we're reinforcing the idea that the exploration is what they did wrong, not the fact that this is just not their style, not the fact that, oh, this is just not what I'm attracted to. You guys are shooting people for exploring, and that makes no sense to me. And the gag is the fact that people like Wisdom and Urban are people that I feel like are staples of modern men's fashion. I feel like there are people who a lot of people look up to when it comes to fashion, when it comes to fashion advice or how things are styled. And these are men who do not dress traditionally masculine. They wear heels, crop tops, skirts, leggings. They are also oftentimes some bedazzled ass niggas, and they look good while doing it. And again, these are not people who were born with this skill. It's a skill you have to develop. And like I said earlier, I also get that styling is a very, very important part of the issue, because some of y'all niggas do not know how to dress textures. A lot of people don't know how to mix and match textures. So a lot of people don't know what is a good too much and what's a bad too much. And a lot of men are so used to dressing down that a lot of the times when they feel like they're dressing up too much, they find something that ruins it. It's to dress it down. And like it's a whole thing. It's very nuanced, and you have to be open to that exploration if you want people to dress better. I'm sorry. And I'm going to circle back to preferences, because, and like I said, I'm a woman who prefers women who are dressed more masculine. I like black women, of course, and that's my top type. I'm sorry. I'm been in the middle of my promotional era as someone who is very sadly and desperately single. I like black women of color. I like alt or earthy. I like boho. I really like all. Or I also really like dark academic styles. I just like more whimsical spectrum of masculine dressing. But black women, yes. But as a lesbian who is attracted to more masculine fashion, I often get asked, why not just date a man? And that's because clothes don't make them any less of a woman like me. Like I said earlier, I love femininity. I love feminine personality. I love feminine parts. I like boobs. But what I also like the most is I'm very attracted to people in their most comfortable state. People who are comfortable in their skin and comfortable and confident in their fashion is the most attractive thing to me. But at the end of the day, I'm attracted to women both physically and emotionally. Fundamentally, the connection that two women have physically and emotionally are completely different. There's nothing like loving a woman. And that's not something that the way you dress can ever dictate. To put it in perspective for somebody who is not attracted to the same sex, who doesn't understand that whole connection, just think of it as like you have a preference for somebody who you prefer classier fashion as opposed to more clubby fashion. Like, it doesn't dictate the value of anybody in the situation, but people who dress differently fundamentally do carry themselves differently. Sometimes people who dress more classy carry themselves classier, or people who dress clubby are more fun or out there. And a lot of the times the way you dress does kind of dictate the type of personality, or not in the worst ways, but oftentimes in the best ways. Because somebody who dresses more clubby can be more open to exploring, or somebody who dresses more whimsical can be more fun and more into weird things. Like, if you're a weirdo and you find someone who dresses like a weirdo, that is cool. That's also how you can dictate somebody's personality. You can do that. That is something that exists. So that's what I'm saying. It's very, very understandable to me why a lot of women are not attracted to this style. A lot of women don't like things that are a little more traditionally feminine, and that's fine. But my issue is the reaction to it that is completely outweighs the problem and also highlights a bunch of very, very negative things. But I just feel like when you are somebody who's expressing your opinion on things, I feel like there is a line that you need to be aware of. There is a difference between being hateful and just, again, having a different opinion. When you have a different opinion, be like, oh, I am not personally attracted to this style. Like, you can be like, personally, I'm just not attracted to men that are dressed like that. And that's fine. That's fine. And that's completely your prerogative. And I think it's healthy for somebody to be able to identify what does turn them on and turn them off. Like, because again, I feel like there's no issue with being picky with your partner. I think that, especially if you're trying to spend your life with someone, I feel like finding as many good points in the person as you like is gonna help. You have to be able to understand what you do and don't like. I think that's a whole part of growing up, and that's a very healthy aspect of attraction. But I just really want people to be aware of how much their rhetoric and how much their beliefs are able to affect the people around you. A lot of Black women have a lot of gay friends and have a sort of a sisterhood in that sense, because I feel like a lot of people refer to that sisterhood when it comes to gay men, but specifically Black gay men and Black women, and because there's a sense of camaraderie in it. I feel like both groups suffer the most in a lot of ways, like in a lot of communities, when it comes to a lot of things like politics, when it comes to a lot of things like health. Black women and Black queer people basically have often suffered, and that solidarity is there. And I want this whole world to be able to grow in a sense, and a lot of people don't tackle issues with the mindset of growth. It's just a mindset of shutting down and moving on. And that's why I feel like it's so important to hold people who even marginalized people accountable. I feel like often we're so busy dealing with all the outside attacks that are coming towards us Black people that we often forget about the things that we do within our community that hurts us as well. That's why I'm really specifically talking about this, because I have as a Black queer individual have been hurt. I know a lot of people who are individuals of color in these communities who are also hurting, and I want to have a connection to my community and be able to, as a Black woman and a queer woman, that's that connectivity of that. But I want to, as somebody who represents both these parts of our culture, to be like, hey, we need to watch it, like dead ass. We need to watch it, because we have to be aware about what the things we say affects the people we bring up and affects the people we love and care about, because a lot of people are very nonchalant about the recklessness of their tongues, but what you speak, especially when you're around a child, it will stick to them regardless. And you do not know what bridges you burn sometimes. Sometimes they start small fires that simmer over a long time, or sometimes they ignite immediately and continue to burn and burn. But regardless, that bridge is burned. I want us to be able to identify how we contribute to these issues so we can be the spearheads for solving these issues. Because unfortunately, the issue with Black violence is a generational issue. Again, you can raise anybody as beautiful as a childhood as well, and they can turn out like shit. Like, they can have the most beautiful childhood and turn out like shit. Like, that's, and I'm not saying that can't happen, but I do want to be real that people do act, like, your rhetoric and the way you act around your children actively contributes to that problem. I forgot to expand on this in the video, but this isn't even accounting for the interpersonal relationships you have and how your rhetoric can affect those. All the time, people who speak like this have queer friends or have queer acquaintances. Controversial statements and hot takes are seen as a sign of authenticity, the guise of being able to say the things that not everyone's willing to say. Completely ignorant or personally do not care about the fact that regardless of the source of the statement or the intention of the statement, it is still violence nonetheless. Our community and the people and allyship surrounding it has increasingly become a less and less safe space due to this fact, and due to a lot of other factors, but this is one I want to point out specifically. Allyship becomes second to the attention that being controversial or being loud on the internet provides, often leading to the desensitization of hateful rhetoric that has proven to cause violence that is still being dealt with today. For example, the very active anti-bi rhetoric that's aimed towards men recently, where people are expressing that they wouldn't date somebody because of their bisexuality. And yes, that's a personal preference, but why are we bringing it to the internet and creating a space where full of biphobia, and you're just creating an echo chamber of people just reinforcing gross and dangerous ideas and misconceptions about what it's like being bi. One bisexual woman who came onto the internet to compare what it's like to date between men and women, specifically compared and downed the female sexual experience. That's her own personal experience, and it's her prerogative to have a preference, but the video is much worse than I'm describing, but she opened the floodgates for a bunch of very homophobic and anti-lesbian rhetoric in her comments because of her comparison. And again, that's her prerogative, but you have to be aware that you are responsible for the space you create when you are a creator, or the safe space you create when you are somebody's friend. Your words hold power, and I'm so tired of people acting very ignorant when it comes to that fact. So I don't like when people use their proximity to queerness as an excuse to spew out hatred disguised as a hot take, objectifying their friends and using them as shields. And we need to work together to kind of dismantle these ideas, because that will instill growth, not continuing to spread them while faking camaraderie. And like I said, I feel like we need to look inward. I feel like us as a Black community often forget ourselves because of the amount that we are facing from the outside world. And due to that neglect, we neglect how we can make each other suffer. And as somebody who is both a Black woman and a queer woman, I feel like I know firsthand how important these issues are to tackle as someone who grew up facing the repercussions of these issues. And we need to change the way we tackle and we deal with things that make us uncomfortable. We need to stop seeing uncomfortability as threats and learn how to navigate properly when it comes to things that we don't necessarily like. Not everything's about you. The world does not revolve around you. You have to be aware that often the consequences of your action are the reactions or how they affect other people around you and how they react to said effect. It is the thing that causes trauma. But we need to be better. We do need to do better, and we need to learn to grow so we can start fighting these things that have plagued our community for years. But that is all I really have to say about this subject. I keep looking at myself because I'm like, I look so pretty. I actually really like the way I did my makeup today. I don't know if you can see it, but I usually do eyeliner. I didn't do any eyeliner today, but I originally had homophobia in my eyes. I feel like it kind of sacrificed the look, so I went back to doing full green eyes. I think that looks better. Also, I hope you guys like the background. You see my two daughters, Luna Freya, which is that one, and Lunetta. And then my son Perry, he stays there, he doesn't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, please like, and if you enjoy content like this and if you like what you see, please subscribe. I recently hit 1,000 subscribers, which is actually insane. Like, I appreciate it, because I didn't expect my last video to do well, because the video before that didn't do very well, but I consider it well. It only had 15,000 views, but that still is a lot for me, and I'm truly very grateful for everybody who's subscribed to me so far. I'm also wanted to hype this song up again. I wanted to start doing this thing where I start putting music recommendations at the end of my video, because I really love supporting small artists, and I love indie music in general. That's a huge part of what I listen to. Also, indie music, I'm a everything music type of gal, but I want to start hyping up some of the songs I listen to. So I highly recommend this one. It's called Soul Child by Oronti, if I'm saying that correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not, but I saw it on Instagram and it's so beautiful. So please check that out. I'll have her Instagram link down below. And I would really appreciate it for you guys to also follow my socials. If you want to see more of my fashion or like my makeup looks and everything, I would definitely recommend following my Instagram. Or if you want to see more of my art, I would recommend following my art Instagram, LavenderLuna53, and my main Instagram is MoonlightZoe89. I know it's confusing, there's a lot of numbers, but yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. Thank you for watching. But if you would like to join me and the other stars in my little galaxy that we have here on YouTube, please subscribe. And if there's an option to hype the video, I would really appreciate that. I think that would be very interesting. But yeah, I'll see you in the cosmos. Bye.